Joining me on today's edition of News Flash on my media Prime Television. I am from Quinter. The President of the Republic, Paul Biya, yesterday appeared in public after a while. Mr. Biya says he had a fruitful discussion with the French ambassador to Cameroon, Christophe Guilou, at the Unity Palace. Focus laid on the fight against coronavirus pandemic in Cameroon, France, and the world at large. Since the outbreak of the virus in the country in the country, speaking at the National Assembly on Thursday, to parliamentarians that 96 cases of coronavirus, amongst whom is a 3-month-old baby, 24 health workers. Of the 996 cases, 22 deaths have been recorded, over 200 recoveries, with 374 cases hospitalized and 30 on ventilators. According to the Minister of Public Health, those tested positive falls between the age 0 to 80, and 0 being that a woman gave birth and later infected her 3-month-old baby. With the increase in figures, Cameroonians are called upon to respect all preventive measures put in place by the government and the World Health Organization to help curb the spread of COVID-19. On a related story, the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manawuda Malachi, has frowned at some unscrupulous health workers taking care of COVID-19 patients across the country. In a release signed on Thursday, April 16, 2020, Dr. Manawuda Malachi says some health workers are collecting money from COVID-19 patients. He explains the government of Cameroon takes charge of all the bills of persons sick of the pandemic. The Minister of Public Health, Dr. Emmanuel Ngano Jumesi, will today, Friday, 17 April 2020, visit the construction site of the Yaoundé-Douala Highway Phase 1. His visit aims at examining the progress of work done in the context of combating the spread of COVID-19 and equally evaluate the implementation of the social and economic arrangements related to the project. And he said Ekane, leader of the African Movement for New Independence and Democracy, has returned home after being quarantined about a month in the hospital for COVID-19. And he said Ekane revealed that he contracted the virus at the Douala International Airport, where he went before the borders were closed. The leader of Manidem explained that he was prescribed some medication, which includes chloroquine and azithromycin, which he took alongside traditional medication and got cured, emerging as a COVID-19 survivor. The country, where the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention has announced that it will offer 1 million coronavirus test kits to meet the African continent's need. According to the organization's director, John Kengasong, testing rates in the African continent is low, citing Nigeria as one of Africa's most populous nations, with more than 200 million inhabitants, has done just 6,000 tests, while Ethiopia, with more than 100 million people, has tested 5,000. To this effect, he said the African Union will distribute the test kits from next week to support countries' ability to test more. So far, 17,700 cases of infection have been confirmed in 52 African countries, 915 deaths, and 3,500 recovered from the disease. Matshidiso Moeti, Africa's head of the World Health Organization, has appealed to the U.S. to reconsider President Donald Trump's decision to cut funding to organization. This appeal is as a result of the negative impact his decision poses on the African continent as programs on polio eradication, the fight against HIV and malaria in the African continent will be greatly affected. The World Health Organization has earmarked about $300 million in the fight against COVID-19 in Africa over the next 6 months, with current infections breaching above 17,000. South Africa has recorded 14 more deaths, bringing a total of 48 deaths as a result of coronavirus in the country. Health Minister Zweli Mkhize said the two provinces of Limpopo and Eastern Cape had recorded their first deaths. Since the outbreak of COVID-19 in South Africa, the country has recorded over 2,605 positive cases of the virus. With the increasing numbers, the country has some of the most stringent coronavirus restrictions in the world. The government has prohibited jogging outside, no sales of alcohol or cigarettes, and no leaving homes except for important trips. French President Emmanuel Macron has questioned China's handling of the coronavirus outbreak, saying things happened they don't know about. Macron told the Financial Times it was naive to suggest that China had dealt better with the crisis. It follows a rule sparked by an article on the Chinese embassy's website that said Western countries had left the elderly to die in care homes. The Foreign Ministry summoned China's ambassadors to express this approval. We've come to the end of today's edition of News Flash on My Media Prime Television. Presentation was done by Quinter and production Eli. These stories and more will be yours at exactly 6:30 p.m. with Purging Blast. Stay tuned to more interesting programs on My Media Prime Television. Have a blessed day in the company of the African Eye.